Welcome to How to Cook That. I'm Reardon and today we're making a Coke bottle cake. There have been lots of these floating around on the internet, so as always I tried to track down the original creator, the person who did it first, to give them credit. And the earliest one I could find was Margaret, a blogger who did a photo tutorial in Italian in September 2015, and I'll link to her blog post below. To make my Coke flavoured version, you'll need a 2-litre bottle of cola and just mark where the drink comes up to on the bottle there. And now to make the Coke jelly layer. You'll need some gelatin and some Coke, and just tip some of the Coke into the gelatin, and I'll put all the recipe quantities for you on the howtocookthat.net website, and I'll link to that below. Stir that around and leave it to soften. And then once it's thickened like this, we need to microwave that for about 30 seconds to melt it. And if you're vegetarian, you can use agar for this instead of gelatin. Add the rest of the Coke and stir it really well. Then let those bubbles subside and pour it into a tray lined with plastic wrap, and we want to leave that in the fridge to set. Next, take some chocolate and some sherbet so that we can make our fizzy discs. Melt the chocolate, you don't need to temper this because we want it to be a bit soft, and mix in the sherbet. Now sherbet is powder that is fizzy in your mouth, and if you live somewhere that doesn't sell it, I'll put a simple recipe for it on the website. Once that is mixed through, squash it flat between 2 sheets of baking paper so that it's really thin. Once it's starting to set, cut circles a bit smaller than the Coke bottle size. Next, for the Coke cream, pour 500 ml of Coke into a saucepan and heat it over high heat until the water evaporates off and you're only left with about 50 ml. Leave that to cool, and then we can add it to the cream. Now you do need to make sure this syrup is completely cool or it will melt your cream. Whip them together until you get soft peaks like this. For the cake part, I'm going to use 1 round chocolate cake and 1 round sponge cake, and you can make them using the recipe I'll put on the blog post, or you can buy them. Cut each cake into 2 even layers, and then use a circle cutter to cut 2 circles from each layer so that you end up with 4 circles of chocolate cake and 4 circles of sponge cake. Now take the Coke bottle and carefully remove the label. We're going to use this later, so don't rip it, just take it off super carefully and hang on to it. Then take a knife and in the middle of where the label was, cut the bottle in half. Now it doesn't have to be super neat, but you do obviously need to end where you started so that you end up with 2 halves of the bottle. Turn the top side upside down and fill it with tempered white chocolate up to the line that we just drew. Leave that for a minute and then dip it upside down to pour out the unset chocolate, so you end up with a nice lining of chocolate there, and then just straighten up the line using a spatula and let that set. Pour in some tempered dark chocolate into the base of the Coke bottle and turn it and spin it until it covers all of the sides, and then tip the extra chocolate into the top half. And do the same with that one, turning it until it's completely covered, and then place them both upside down to set. To the base, add some Coke cream, a layer of sponge cake, more cream, chocolate cake, then a layer of fizzy chocolate, then add a circle of Coke jelly and more cream, and continue to layer it up in this way right up to the top. Place the top half in a glass to help it balance and layer it up in the same way as we did for the base. Now, I have lots of you telling me every week in the comments that you are the biggest How to Cook That fan ever, and one lovely girl has even made a How to Cook That quilt cover for her bedroom. So finally, I said yes to one of the companies that keeps emailing me wanting to do How to Cook That t-shirts for me, but here's what I want to know is, what do you want on them? Do you want the How to Cook That logo? Do you want Make It a Great Week? Do giant things? Let me know what you think. I'll set up a poll and link to that below so that you can have what you want on the t-shirts. Now we need to get the plastic off our cake, so take a knife and cut down that thin plastic, pulling it away from the cake as you cut so that you don't cut the chocolate. Rip off the thin part of the plastic, then turn it the right way up and put it on some paper. Remove the lid and push down on the white chocolate so that you can take off that top hard part of the bottle. Repeat that for the base, cutting down the plastic all the way to the base to remove it. Stand the base upright and add chocolate around the cut in the middle there, and then place the top onto it. Support the cake inside of the top as you flip it over so it doesn't fall out. Arrange it so the bottle is straight, and then use a knife to smooth out the chocolate and fill in any gaps. And this area will be covered by the label, but we still need to make it as smooth as we can so that that label will sit flat. Add the label back around the center. Then take a strip of red fondant and wrap it around the top of the bottle. Now you could just put the lid on, but it looks a bit unusual. It doesn't quite look how I wanted it to. Then use a knife to draw a line around for the piece of plastic that sits just under the lid. Add a circle to the top, and then use something flat to make indents around the lid. Use a hot knife to cut through the chocolate and take a slice of the layered Coke cake. Give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to How to Cook That for more cakes, chocolates and desserts. Click here for last week's Easter egg video, here for the recipe, and here for more of my cake videos. Make it a great week, and I'll see you on Friday.